And good morning, Facebook and social media. Good morning, I'm Bradley Chapman, your business coach, and welcome to a brand new broadcast, a brand new week for the Diamond Experience broadcasting. Today is the very first broadcast of sales team training, of Monday's sales team training. Marina Nani just joined us. Michael Tomalin has just joined us as well. So this is day one of a brand new forecast, a brand new schedule, which is going out this week. And today we're going to be focusing on sales teams and sales team management. We're going to talk in most specifically about the psychology of a sales team. So you may have a sales team that exists in place already. You may be building a sales team. You may be an MD of a business that's running your own sales team, or you've got a sales manager in place. Either way, today's broadcast is about the psychology of a sales team, and we're going to imagine that a sales team is already in place. Karen, hi, good morning. May Gunnis, good morning. Camelia Bogdan, good morning. And Patrick Snell, good morning. So we're going to imagine there's already a sales team in place and you've got a sales team. So, for example, you may have a sales team with 6 to 8 people. It may be a regional team, and there may be other regional teams. So we're going to understand the psychology of a sales team. Now, today's broadcast is going to be about 30 minutes. And what I'm going to help you to understand is the psychology that the sales team will be thinking. Now, if you've run sales teams before, you'll be all too familiar. Good morning, Kalpish Patel. You'll be all too familiar with the psychology of a sales team. But look, here you go. As you know, for many years, I've managed and grown sales teams in the UK and around the world. The largest sales teams that I've managed personally has been 400 plus people, nearly 500. The psychology of a sales team. So let's start with about 6 to 8 people, because a lot of people that are listening right now, they're either thinking about starting a sales team or they've got a sales team. So here's the thing. It doesn't matter whether you've got a product or a service, you've got a sales team. Now, in that sales team, whatever you're doing, that sales team will start to develop. Hi, Russell. Good morning. How you doing? Coming from India. How you doing, you bad boys? Really great to see you. Russ, how's business in India, brother? So your sales team, you'll start with about, maybe 4 or 5 people. You'll grow to about 6 to 8 people. Now, invariably, what's going to happen is this. You're going to have a wall of fame. You're going to have a top representative and you're going to have a bottom representative. Now, as the business grows and you start to move forward and you start to close deals, you start to close sales. And of course, we're not talking about KPIs today. We're not talking about targets today. We're not talking about your outbound calling technique, your procedure, or your process. We're talking about the psychology of a sales team and how you need to consider, Stuart Holman, good morning, how you need to consider getting that sales team to win. If you're just joining, this is the Diamond Experience broadcast series. This is brand new. This is sales team meeting Mondays. This can be used as part of your sales team meeting, or indeed as part of a lesson for yourself, or indeed for your managers within the business. So we're talking about psychology of a sales team, and we're imagining we've got a sales team of 6 to 8 people. Now, you're going to have your top performer that starts to move forward. Your top performer, there's always a top performer. And of course, in sales, we always understand that there's an 80-20 rule. It's a Pareto Law that 20% of your sales team will actually write 80% of your business. And that's pretty true to fact. Now, here's the thing. Out of your 6 to 8 salespeople, your top person is always going to be writing top amount of business. The top person will always write the top. You might have, 1 or 2 people that are kind of top, but invariably there's always one guy that will be top, or girl that will be top, and they'll start pouring out, they'll start closing deals, they'll start winning business, and they've got something very special. Now, the top person is either going to be somebody that doesn't want to help the team, they're very much on their own, and they purely just want to be the top salesperson, or they may have aspirations to move into management. Now, you've got to keep an eye on this, because sometimes the very best salesperson in business makes a really bad sales manager, and other times the top salesperson could become a manager. So be very careful with that. Now, sometimes the top salesperson, as they're tearing away within their business, they can become very isolated and very insulated, and they don't really want to share their skill with the rest of the flock, with the rest of the team. Now, conversely, in the opposite to the top performing person in the business, you're going to have the person at the bottom who's just coming in, the newbie who's just joined the team. Now, you've got to understand, as a manager and as a managing director, the emotions that people are going through. Now, the top person, as the business starts to expand, is going to start to think possibly, I'm going to be losing business, my leads are going to be diluting, why are we taking on more people? Because the top person can become very, very selfish, that he wants all the leads, that he wants all the business, that he wants all the sales. It's not always the case, but just bear this in mind. The bottom person that's coming in is looking at that leaderboard, and they're looking up at the leaders, and they're thinking to themselves, I want to grow. I want to be top. I want to be as good as the person who's at top of the board. Now, it depends on the style of person that you recruit. But if you're recruiting somebody new to your business and they're not looking at that leaderboard, wanting to be in the top 3, then seriously, you've got to look at your recruitment, right? Now, the bottom person comes into the business and he's got to train, he's got to learn, he's got to understand the business, he's got to grow. Now, you don't want to get this gap within your team where they're not helping each other. You don't want to get a team that doesn't support each other. So if you're having a sales team meeting this morning, then you want to be able to bring your team together, whether it's the guy at the top who's the top performer, or whether it's the guy at the bottom who's not performing. But just how do you do that? How do you maintain and try to deal with the rule of the 80-20 Pareto split, where 20% of your team's writing 80% of the business? But how do you start to even that out? Because trust me, for your business, you don't want to build your business just on one man. You don't want to build your business on one guy who's the top guy, because things can get very, very difficult and they can get a sense of self-entitlement. Not all the time, but it can happen. So how do you bring everybody into your team? Well, this is what I used to do. Every time I used to go into a team and the team wasn't performing, the team wasn't performing not because the top guy wasn't performing. The top guy always performs. It's the rest of the team that's potentially not performing, or they've not quite got the skill, they've not quite got the ability, or they've not quite got the confidence or the ability to come across in front of a customer to solve their problems with regard to the product or the service that they're selling. So this is what I usually do. If the top guy, the top performer in the team, is not willing to help, is not engaged in the business, then he can become very insular and he become very isolated and a very high level of self-entitlement that he's the top guy and he should be getting the best of everything. And bear this in mind as well, because as your business grows and more salespeople start to come in, you have to pretty much look after your top guys, but you don't want them ever to feel that, the business has grown so much that they fear new people coming in, because I've experienced that, where a top guy, he doesn't want the business to grow. He wants to stop the business from growing because he fears his own position, his own title, his own top position. It means he could come off the top. So you've got to coach them that new people are coming into the business. We're on a program of growth and together we can grow. So this is what I did with the top guy, with a company where they weren't performing. I put a commission to the top guy for any training that he did with the junior guys. They agreed. He agreed. And the next minute within the sales meetings, I've got the top guy talking about his experiences, because he was actually getting an override on the junior guys coming into the business. Now, of course, it's the sales manager's job and the sales director's job to look after the team. Of course it is. It depends who's appointed in charge as management. But if you think about it, if you can replicate what your top guy has in terms of his skill, his knowledge, and his attitude, and if he's incentivized to grow and incentivized by way of commission, then you can do dual visits, dual training visits. It's almost like they come out of the original training school and they go live in the sales team, and then the next minute they go out with the top guy for 2, 3, or 4 pitches or presentations, and they watch the top guy. Now, not necessarily are they going to emulate the top guy, because everybody's got a unique style of approach when talking to customers. Hi, Carol Kokimore. Thanks for joining. Manny Lafferty's joined. Gary Brown's joined. Stuart Holman's joined. Thank you very much indeed for joining. Please do feel free to ask any questions about sales management, sales training, and sales development within the thread. I'll answer them all directly. If you've got any questions about sales management, you can always direct message me. We'll be starting up a sales group, a sort of closed sales group in the near future. But let's just get back to the story. So please just feel free to reach out, say who your company is and what you do, promote your business. Just feel free, okay, on these broadcasts to relax and be yourself. Everybody needs help. We all need to grow. So you know, you've got your top guy. So what I did was I took my top guy, and I didn't want to lose the top guy to, you know, a sense of self-entitlement. And equally, I know from my own experience of growing large-scale sales teams that my top guy didn't always remain my top guy. Sometimes, you know, someone new come into the business and they were absolutely SH. They were shit hot. They were a fantastic representative of the company, amazing brand ambassador. They just got it, but they had this amazing way with people. And all of a sudden they started closing deals and they challenged the top spot. So you must always make sure that you remember where you start in your business. You remember where you come from and who helped you with your sales to get you going. You must remember that. Now, as people grow, create a competitive environment, but not an environment where people will say and do anything to close the deal, because you want your team to come across professionally. You want them to come across within line of your business uniform, and you want them to be a great representative of your company. So whether they get the order or not, whether they close the sale, whether they secure the contract, that the person they're meeting, do I speak Hindi, Russell? Namaste, brother. Namaste. Whether they get the deal or not, they have to come away gracefully and learn to reevaluate. So let's just recap. First of all, as your sales team's growing, you're going to have your top guy and your bottom guys coming into the business. You don't want a very large gap within the bottom performers' revenue and the top performers' revenue. You want to make sure there's a chase to the top, like the TV series, The Chaser. You want to make sure there's a chase to the top, that you've got a 1, 2, and 3 position that's fairly close together. How do you do it? Take your top guy, bring him into your chest, have a one-to-one with him to understand whether or not he wants to become a sales manager or a sales director, or whether he doesn't want to do that and he just wants to sell. You must know that with your top guy, your top 2 guys, because some people have got aspirations to become sales management, and others, they just want to sell and manage their own business. And I'll tell you why. A top salesman in any organization, hi Abid Khan, thanks for joining. A top guy in a sales organization, depending on what country you are around the world, they can earn 6 figures. Depending on your business. If you're in the corporate sector, it might be a 30 or 40 grand basic and then a 60 grand OTE. But let's face it, if you're good at sales and you're good at closing, in most businesses, you can aim towards getting for that first 6 figures. And in many companies that I've worked for and consulted, that 6 figures has increased to 6 figures plus in terms of income by increasing their skill, their knowledge, and their attitude and their coaching of how to maximize their day. And that's going to be for another time. Today, we're talking about the psychology of a sales team and how you can get your team to win. So number 1, the top guy, make sure you understand whether he wants to go into management, he wants to be just purely selling. There's a big difference of those types of people. And if you force a top guy into management, he may not like it. Number 2, ask your top guy to train the guys behind him that's coming in. Not from an induction course point of view. You need a sales trainer to do that. When I work for companies, I offer them a service where I can train the team, and then I go into management and I manage the team, and I can even take them out onto the road. It depends what setup you've got into your business, okay? But your top guy, providing you've got a good sales training, induction and onboarding program, your top guy, give him a small commission to look after the newbies for the first couple of weeks, regardless as to whether you've got a sales manager or not, because your top guy, he's in the field, he's closing deals, he's kicking ass, he's taking names, he's building his prospect database, okay? He's managing his week. Get a newbie sitting either side of him. Now, if you're office-based or you're field-based, if you're office-based, get a newbie to sit either side of the experienced guy, the top guy, and giving him incentive of their commission for the first 3 months. Because there's one thing I know about a top sales guy is they're so hungry, so hungry to want to earn money. And if they can spend a little bit of time with someone watching them, number 1, it makes them feel great that they're the lead of the pack, that they're the captain, they're the top of the sales team tree. And so they'll be happy to help. Now, Manny's asked, Brad, would you put your top guys with the lower guys when they go on the phone or in the field for the first time, or would you keep them apart? Absolutely. So what I do is I take the new guys into a training session. Into a training session, and then once their training induction program is done, they go live on a bench. Depending on what business you're in, whether it's field sales, key sales, whether it's telephone sales, you're going to be in the office for at least 1 day a week and then out in the field, right? So if you're in the office 1 day a week, Then you've got the new guy, put 2 new guys either side of him so that they can watch, listen, and they can start to emulate. If you're in the field, only ever take 1 person with you. Call it a dual accompaniment. A dual accompaniment. Tim Birch just joined. Blimey, Tim, you're up early or up late. So it's called a dual accompaniment. Don't ever put more than 1 person in the field in the appointment, because it can overwhelm the appointment, and sometimes it can cause, you know, an unbalance in terms of the potential buyer with the guy who's presenting to them. So never more than 1 in the field, okay? But that's what I do. I'd bring that top guy in. I'd lock him in by giving him a little bit of commission override for the next 3 months or whatever they generate. For those 2 guys, he becomes almost like their track and field mentor. Now, although you've got the sales manager looking after the team, the sales manager is going to be massively busy dealing with the calls, the day, the recruitment, the training, the ongoing development, the team meetings, the inspiration, the motivation. The sales manager should be all over the motivation. Now, me as a sales manager, I always used to go out into the field as well with my guys. You're going to get a lot of sales managers that perhaps they become a sales manager and they want to hang up their boots and they think they only need to manage. If you've got a manager like that, you need to talk to them, because every single sales manager should be out in the road 1 day a week or a morning per week or 2 days per month to make sure he's on the ground with his guys to see what's going on. Because if you're not on the ground with your guys to see what's going on, then you cannot come back and learn from that and put retraining and redevelopment. So the bottom guys that's coming through the business, they're just joined. When I say bottom, new starters or bottom, there's a difference actually. A new starter is someone's just come off a training course and he's got his first 4 to 5 weeks. How's he doing? That first 4 to 5 weeks, in fact, the first week for the new guy in the field, it's imperative that he has love, support, energy, drive, training, coaching. It's important that he has a one-to-one after every single phone call, presentation, pitch that he's done, because he needs to be supported. Because if you can't get him right in that first week, you'll lose him forever. So use your top guy to be a daddy to the team, not from a management point of view, but from a sales closing, appointment booking, sales closing technique basis. Now, the bottom guys coming into business, you've got to watch out for these young pups, because these young pups are the people that are going to be the future of your business. Now, so many sales managers, I've seen so many sales managers that don't want to put in the hard work with the newbies. They don't want to train their newbies because they think their golden boy at the top is enough to make their business grow. And then I've seen a sales team fall apart where a top guy's left or he's been poached. Then all of a sudden your revenue's down 60 or 70%. And oh my God, then all of a sudden the craps hit the fan. Just be careful as a sales manager. You want to make sure you always prepare for something that you cannot see. Prepare to protect your target. Prepare to protect your team. Because if you have a big casualty and one of your big players it's taken out, or he leaves, or you lose them, or he's promoted, you could have a hole within your business. So listen, pay attention to your junior players in the business. And I'll give you a quick example. Many years ago, I joined a company and in London, and it was a credit insurance company. And I joined the London team. And this team in London hadn't won a championship trophy since 1983. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe they didn't win a trophy. It was very hard work. It was self-employed roles, and they were selling credit insurance. It was 4 days in the field, 1 day in the office. So you're recruiting quite a lot to build up a core team. They earned very good money, but London hadn't won. So I had no team. I started with 1 person. I started to recruit, and this guy come through the door, and if he didn't look like Harry Potter, oh my God, he come through the door with glasses, with a bit of sellotape, holding his glasses, excuse me, holding his glasses together. He had a belt round his waist with trousers all wonky. He had jack-ups, so his trousers were high. He was wearing white socks, and I thought, oh my gosh, you know, what have I got here? What am I going to do with this guy? But when I sat down and spoke to him, he was a really lovely guy, and I didn't want to give up on him, so I didn't. I said, Lee, you've got to dress correctly. We've got to get you dressed right. This guy didn't even have a telly. He just had a piano at home. He was working for 6 to 8 months because he wanted to be a composer. And he said, look, I'll give it everything I've got. I'll listen. I'll be absolutely dedicated. I'm only going to be with you for 6 to 8 months because I want to be a composer, but I will give you my life for 6 to 8 months. Now, I stuck with this kid. I trained him. I coached him. I developed him. I helped him to grow and his skill, his knowledge, his attitude. Now, he actually turned out to be my top selling guy for 3 months out of the 7 that he was there. So you've got to be very, very careful as a sales manager that you don't prejudge somebody that you think either doesn't look the part or somebody that you don't something that's going to make it as a sales manager to understand to make a winning psychology with a sales team, you've got to look at everything with an open mind, whether it's just your top guy and your golden payday or whether it's your junior guys that's coming in. You've got to balance your time between teaching those young puppies that are coming in, those newbies that are coming off the course, and your top guy. Because if you spend too much time with your top guy and you don't go to work as a manager and you aren't busting your guts as a sales manager and doing everything you can to grow your team, guess what? They are not going to work for you. So your work ethic as a sales manager will determine ultimately your success in the business and your team. If you're a lazy sales manager and you've got one or two big hitters and you're not growing your team, shame on you, because you've always got to have subs on the bench. Your sales meeting, your Monday morning sales meetings, how do you share your Monday morning sales meeting as a team? How do you bring everybody together? How do you recognize everybody? Now, this is what I used to do. Everybody that's in sales, they want to be able to experience the adulation and the kudos of success, because that's what we do in sales. We want to grow. We want to get targets. We want to break records. We want to win competitions. We want to go abroad. That's what sales is all about, right? Manny's saying, I set my guys a script, but I tell them to use it as a guideline, as I don't want them to sound like a robot. I tell them they have to know it off by heart before I let them in the field on day 5 of training. Am I right to do this? Listen, with scripts, it depends on your business, Manny. If you've got people that's in the field, okay, they're never ever going to work from a script. So what I think you're saying there is your script is your telephone booking script. Is that right? So you've got an appointment booking script that you're using, and then the guys are out in the field. Well, of course, you need a certain type of script to make and book and to set appointments. But, of course, we're in the field. It's a different thing. Then they've got to use all the tools within the training of the team that you give them to call upon those tools, but to be able to know what tool to use and when. And remember, the biggest mistake that rookies make in the sales sector, guys, ladies, is what? What's the biggest mistake? What's the biggest mistake that somebody makes when they're in the field? It's not knowing what tool to use and when, and they think that they're selling to people. They're not. They are solving a customer's problem. And when you use your questioning techniques in the field, who, what, why, where, when, and how, okay, we're going off topic a little bit, but when you use your questioning techniques, and we'll come on to this in another week on Sales Meeting Mondays, don't worry. And any requests that you guys have got, ask me anything about sales team management, sales team growth, UK or international, recruitment, sales training, sales drive, motivation, team meetings. Put it into the thread, ladies and gentlemen, and we can build that into our Sales Meeting Mondays program. So I'm gonna just cut short on Manny, and I'm gonna say, Manny, just make sure that they are solving their customers' problems. They're using opening questioning techniques to gain a valuable insight into the customer's business. It's from those questions do you find, do the customers give the answers? From those answers are your hotspots. From those hotspots are what you close on to solve a customer's problem. So if your questioning technique was, John, how long have you been in business? 20 years, Manny. Okay, and did you own the business from the start? No, Manny, I had 2 partners, and eventually, and how did you start up? We started in the garage, just the 2 of us. We had this idea, and then we moved to this office. And how many staff in total do you have now? 25 staff. That's really fantastic. What an amazing story. What's the biggest challenge that your business is facing right now? Is it as a sales challenge, a marketing challenge, or an operational challenge? What's the biggest challenge? You'll find that most people will always turn around and say to you, hi, Shirley Connolly. Most people will always turn around and say to you, listen, we could do with more revenue. And then, of course, you're in. And then you're looking at, because, Manny, I know you've got an advertising business, right? Now, let's go back to this team. You're dynamic as a sales manager. The harder you work as a sales manager, the more you're going to grow. Now, think about this within your team dynamic of your sales team. Let's say we've got the 8 people we've been talking about since we started. Those 8 people, you've got your top guy. Your top guy is now training the newbies in the business. The top guy is incentivized with an overriding commission for the first 3 months of sales for your new guys, and he's looking after them. You've also now in a position where you've understood and you've interviewed everybody what their aspirations for growth are, whether they want to be just a sales rep or a senior sales rep, or whether they want to be going to management. You understand understand what they want to do. Bear in mind, this can change. Somebody's mindset can change at any time, but you as a sales manager, you've got to stay on the ball. You've got to know your team. You've got to understand your team. You've got to know their beating heart. You've got to know every single aspect of your team and what they do. You've got to be the daddy to your team. Excuse me. The moment you take your foot off the gas as a sales manager is the moment you start to lose. Now, your Monday morning sales meeting, you've got people coming into the sales meeting. They're coming into the sales meeting and you're going to give you awards out. Now, let me tell you pretty much, for someone that's been a newbie in many, many businesses, and take yourself back here, ladies and gentlemen, as a newbie and a new starter to a sales meeting. How did you feel watching the top guy? How did you feel watching the top guy every single week win a trophy? Did you ever lose your belief that you wouldn't get a trophy? Did you think it was rigged and fixed, that he was getting all the top leads, not forgetting the fact that he'd earned his right as the top guy? But did you feel not part of it? Did you feel that you wasn't part of the team? So this is what I did, and you could adopt this as well. So I wanted to bring a team spirit into every team that I grow, because I train and lead with passion and purpose. I always share my values and where I want to go. And, you know, your team grows. Now, I've been in some real hell-raising situations as well in my sales journey, working in direct sales where the teams just grow exponentially, 100, 200, 300 people, and they can indeed go off and say some stupid things in the field. So you must control what your guys are saying and doing, okay? And in an employed basis, when you've got a basic salary and a commission, you don't need to worry too much, because there's a different breed than the direct sales, which needs a certain element of control. But this is what I used to do in my sales meetings. I'd have the top awards for the top individuals, of course, the first place and the second place. But then I created a couple of really brilliant awards. The first one was called the Bent Axle Steering Award, and that was a steering wheel that I got from a car, okay, and I'd stamped on it to make it a bent steering wheel. And a Crazy Idea Award and a Laughing Moment Award. Now, the bent axle and the Crazy Idea and the Laughing Moment Awards were just awards to recognise that we're human in a sales team. So it might be someone did something stupid. They drove their car through a ravine and got stalled. They missed an appointment, or something crazy happened, or something stupid happened, or the bent axle wall was someone tried to create something outside the box, but it didn't work. It didn't damage the business. So after the top awards, you'd get your bent axle award, you get your Crazy Idea award for the people that had just had a crazy idea. Now, what they did do is it started to bring the team together, and everyone, you know, when they come into the sales meeting, so I say, "Oh my God, who's going to get the bent axle?" Well, yeah, it's Steve, because all of a sudden the reps start talking now. They start talking to each other, and if they've done something crazy, they're on the mobile phones. "Oh, guess what I've just done? I bet I'm going to get the bent axle award." So they start to talk to each other. And not only are they looking forward to going into a sales meeting because you, as a sales manager, is engaging, they're starting to talk together. The top guy is training the guys below them because he's being incentivized to do so. Excuse me. You've interviewed your team like a heartbeat. You know which way their heart's beating, whether they want to be a rep or they want to go into management. You're already planning. Now, listen as a psychology. Listen to this psychology as a sales manager. It's very important, very important. I've grown sales teams on a regional basis. And when I recruit people, I always say this, and this is very important. If you're a sales manager, you've got to consider this psychology if you want to grow. And you've got to consider this psychology within your team. Whenever I recruit and I train my managers to recruit in any business, I always say to them to look for somebody better than yourself. Look for somebody that when you read their CV, you're like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's amazing." And when you meet them, you're like blown away because you think, "Damn, this guy's going to be good." Now, here's the thing. I've seen so many sales managers that do not recruit beyond their own ability. And shame on them, because all that does is gives them a self-limiting level of performance. Because they fear their own inability to learn and to step up, they will take people on that are lower than them, that they think that they can control psychologically. And all that does for a sales manager is hold you down, ladies and gentlemen. It holds you back, because you've got to look to recruit a better team member within your team, right? You're always looking for another number one, aren't you? So why aren't you looking for somebody to replace yourself? Oh, you might say, I could lose my job. He might be better than me. You know, he might be able to take my team over. No, get out of that mindset. Get away from that mindset and think to yourself that actually, if I recruit somebody that's better than me, then it's going to make me a better person. You will make me a better manager. I always love recruiting people that are better than me because it kept me on my toes. It kept me focused. It kept me searching for a new thing. And if I had someone come in that had a really great presence with the team, it helped me to raise my game, to improve my sales meeting, my end of day calls, to be more creative, the way that I communicate with my team, to increase my energy, my attitude. And that's what it will do for you. So don't be afraid. I used to chuckle to myself where I'd interviewed someone that could be a potential regional manager. And, you know, I'd take him in to meet another regional manager. I'd say, you know, hello, John, meet Frederick here. He could be possibly coming on board as a regional manager. And I'd see the look on the face. Good morning, Jake Turner-Combs. Good morning. And Luther Martin O'Kenny, thanks for joining. I'd see the look on the sales manager's face. And you could see the sales manager looked at this potential new regional manager. And he was well dressed, he was articulate, he was engaging, he was confident in his speech, and he had this glow around him. And the other regional managers gone like, you know, they start to get all pensive and start to get all tight. And so and I'd laugh to myself because I think, oh my God, you're not adopting it. I'd be saying, why don't you come to work in my team? Let me train you. Come and work in my team. John, listen, if there's a space, let him come in my team for 2 or 3 months. You know, he might only be there for a couple of weeks, but the point being is, don't ever be afraid as a sales manager to accept someone that's better than you. Don't ever be afraid to keep recruiting better than your top person in your business. Don't ever let your top person become somebody who's got a sense of self-entitlement, because they'll only hold your business back. And if they hold you back, they'll have you by the balls. And I've seen this in companies where the top salesman, the managing directors are bowing down like this to the top person and almost licking his butt crack and tickling his balls because the top salesperson in the business has got control of the business. That's not good. Never let one salesperson get control of your business. You are in control of your team, and the MD is in control of the business. You must never let a top guy get so top and so powerful that he's writing all the business for the company, and the reasons are rhetorical. But trust me, I've experienced it. I've tried to coach it. I've tried to break directors away from that, and they're so scared of losing what they've got that they would rather live in this cave, in this jail, that someone else is leading their business than them leading their own. I call that the wag the dog scenario, when the tail is wagging the dog and not the dog wagging the tail. Does that make sense? So to build a team to win, let's recap. Number one, your top guy, bring him into your business. Make sure that he wants to help train and coach the newbies coming through. Give him an overriding incentive in terms of a commission incentive for the first 3 months of their business. Sit a newbie either side of the experienced guy within the business. Your sales meetings have to be exemplary. Create some awards that are not just the top sales performer, but the Ben Axel award for something that was funny. The crazy idea award for someone that came up with the most craziest idea. Yeah. Create a few different awards, and they stay on their desks or they carry it in their car for the week, so that the guy with the bent axle award drove through the water, his car conked out, and the AA had to come and get him. He carries that bent axle, and then he brings it back into the office on a Monday morning. Says, I don't want that bent axle award no more. And then, of course, you know, somebody else gets it. But essentially, you have to be the very best manager you can be. Spend time with your people, spend time in the field, go back into the field once a week or once every 2 weeks, but don't get feet desk. Don't get desk feet as a manager and think that you've arrived once you've got to management status. You must go out with your team, because the harder you work for your team, the harder your team's going to work for you. Okay, it's very, very important. Now, I said this broadcast was going to be 30 minutes. It's now been 36. I just want to keep it to 30-minute sales meeting Mondays. Now, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's the first meeting of a series of sales meeting Mondays. Now, if you like what we do, please do comment, like, and share. If you like the broadcast and you know somebody else that can benefit from sales training, sales coaching, sales meeting training, please, I can ask you to like, comment, and share. If we've not been connected before, then please do drop me a note, drop a comment in the thread. Tell me why you come online, why you was listening to the call, and whether or not you found it of value. And equally, please do put a message in the thread of anything that you want to cover on Sales Meeting Mondays for me to help you and your business move forward. So if you've read my bio or my LinkedIn profile, you'll know that I've been involved in sales for most of my life, over 30 years. I'm an expert sales team builder, sales trainer, developer. I develop teams all the way from small teams of 20 people to over 500 people. I absolutely love it. I love being involved in the sales arena. If you acquire any of my services, please do visit bradleychapman.com and visit the Diamond Store. It's a great pleasure. And anybody that wants to have a discovery call personally with me, it's fine. Just give me a message on Messenger, and I'll always have a chat with you. I'll always try and coach you and help you initially. And then after that, if you want to go into a program, you're more than welcome. But these broadcasts and everything that I do online are free and to help you. I hope that it does, and I thank you very much indeed for watching. Today we've been talking about sales team management, growing your sales team, how to get the right win psychology within a sales team. It's now Monday. It's Monday in the UK, approximately 10:36. Now take what you've learned today and go and execute with passion. Stay tuned and tune in for more Sales Team Mondays as we move forward. Please do turn the notifications on the live video, and follow me if you want to know when I'm online with other aspects. Now, coming up later today at 3 o'clock, I've got the World is Smaller Than You Think, which is where I combine businesses across the world. At 5 p.m. today, I'm going live as part of the Be Live TV's birthday bash. I was invited as a live broadcaster to celebrate their live broadcast, which is on the Be Live TV Facebook page. I'm going to be on at 5:20 p.m. I think it's 12:20 Eastern Central Time, Eastern Standard Time, and I'm at 5:20 p.m. UK time. You can join in on that. And then at 7 o'clock tonight, we've got CEO Hour, where we'll be talking about business strategy and business growth. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for joining. It's the start of the week. It's Monday. Let's make it a diamond explosive week. Please do check out my new broadcasting schedule. I'll also post it into the thread once I jump offline. There's a diamond inside of you. There's diamonds inside of your team. You just got to know how to find them. You just got to help them. You just got to find your own diamond first of all, then train your team to find theirs. I'm Brad Chapman, expert business team builder, author, inspirational speaker. What else do I do? Business coaching across the world. Ladies and gentlemen, have a fabulous day. I love you all. Be all that you can be. Don't forget, please do comment a thread. That's the only way I'm going to know that you've been here, apart from my list that shows me now that you've been live. So please do comment, introduce yourself. If you want to connect with me directly, Bradley S. Chapman on Facebook, bradleychapman.com on the web, at Coach Bradley Chapman on Instagram, bradley.chapman on Skype, and Twitter at Bradley Chapman, and do join me on LinkedIn as well, Bradley Chapman UK. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great one. God bless you. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you very much indeed. Jake Turner Coombs, Manny Lafferty, Ben Chai, thanks for joining in. Luther Martin O'Kenny, thank you. We've got Shirley Connolly, thank you very much indeed for joining. Simon Rowland, thanks for joining. Hi, Simon. How are you, buddy? Kalpesh Patel, Sue Tong, Vasil Sapp, Angela B. Spragg, Timber, Uma Hussain, Martin Jones, thanks for joining. Mark Montes, Abid Khan, thanks for joining. Russell Emright, Miri Chemziri, thank you. Who's that there? That's Karel Kamoli, Gary Brown, Stuart Holman, Yildra Yuksev, Gary Palmer. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Be all you can be. Go get them, Tigers. Build your team. Build your success. Have a good one. Take care. Bye.